guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make struffoli, and I am just so excited. Now, if you know me, you know I was born in Italy, I was born in Naples, and I was raised there for about half of my life. I moved to the States 12 years ago, and for Christmas in Naples, a must on that Christmas table is struffoli. Struffoli are little tiny pieces of dough, fried until golden and then tossed in honey. They are just so amazing. And Christmas would just not be, it just wouldn't be Christmas without struffoli. I mean, what kind of Christmas would that be? It wouldn't be Christmas in my house, that's for sure. I've had a lot of requests showing how to make traditional struffoli, and I'm just really excited to share them with you because they're really easy to make and they don't require any ingredients that you can't get into the United States, which is a plus when you're making traditional Italian recipes, especially desserts, because a lot of them have ingredients that I just can't seem to find here. But this is not one of them. This is the easiest thing ever. So let's go over the ingredients to get started. You're going to need some all-purpose flour, eggs, the zest of some lemon and orange, tiny bit of sugar, tiny bit of salt, and this is just clementincello or limoncello, or you can use a little bit of white wine, or if you don't want to use liquor at all, just use a couple tablespoons of fresh orange juice. It'll do the same thing. And you're also going to need some honey, and you're going to need some vegetable oil to fry these in, but that'll come in a bit. Now, if you want to, you can do this by hand without a mixer, just on your board, and just knead everything together. I'm going to do this in my mixer just because it's easy. I'm a little bit lazy today. So I'm going to put my flour in here, and again, this is an extremely easy recipe. So you're going to put in your flour. Basically, all your ingredients go in at the same time, and then you're going to just mix it. Whoops. You're going to just mix it up until everything's combined and you have a nice dough. So, start on low until the flour is incorporated. That looks good. Now the dough will look sticky, and that's because it is, but don't worry. We're going to add in a bit of flour on our board because we're going to, well, that's a bit too much flour, because we're just going to knead this together until it pretty much forms a nice ball. You don't want to add too much flour to begin with, because then you're kind of stuck with a dry dough, and you don't want to add too much liquid because then they won't fry well. So just put this on your board, and this does not take very long. It's very, very easy. And just bring it together. See? That's what we're looking for. Very nice. It's a very soft dough, but that's what's going to give you really light. You want to make sure to get rid of any excess flour, because if you have a lot of flour covering this, when you go to fry them, the flour will foam up in the oil and it'll just become acrid and smell awful and brown and ugh. So all I'm going to do is put this in a little bowl. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let it rest for about half hour or so. My dough's been resting for 30 minutes. Now, let me show you what I've got going on. I have a baking sheet here with some parchment paper. I have some vegetable oil in a deep skillet. You can use a soup pot or a vegetable fryer or a deep fryer. I normally use a deep fryer, but I wouldn't be able to show you exactly what they should look like because it's a deep fryer. So I'm doing it in this pan just to give you a better idea of what you're looking for in terms of color. So I have a little bit of flour on my board. What I'm going to do, now remember, the dough is a little bit sticky, and that's fine, because if we start with a dough that's just too dense, you're not going to get just really, really light struffoli. They're going to be really tough and hard, and we don't want that. Oh. So, it does not want to stay on there. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to cut this dough into 8 equal pieces. So just do half, and then cut those in half, just like so. So you have 8 equal pieces. Okay, so I have my 8 pieces that I rolled into a ball, and now I'm just covering them back up, just so that they don't dry out. And on this cookie sheet, I'm gonna just put in a tiny bit of flour. Now I'm gonna work with one piece. I'm just going to take this and just roll it. You can do it in your hands like so, which probably works best. So you have a nice rope in front of you. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut them out. And they can be as small or as little as you want. Ideally, they should be about 1/4 inch thick. They seem pretty small. They're going to puff up slightly, not a whole lot, but you don't want them to be too big because struffoli are not these big things. They're just really little and light, crispy on the outside, lovely and puffy on the inside. Perfect. And then you can fry them like so, or you can just briefly roll them in your hand, just like so. You're not doing anything special, just lightly rolling them in your hands. And then I just put them on my baking sheet. Now I rolled out some of my pieces of dough. I didn't roll all of them out. I'm just going to start cooking these. Now you want to make sure your vegetable oil is up to about 375. These are going to cook in just a matter of a couple minutes. So if you don't have a thermometer, just put it in. If it starts to boil up and get, fry up nice and quick, then you know the oil is ready. Now here's how I do them. I like to put a bunch of them into a little strainer type of utensil like this. Just put a bunch of them up on there because I don't want anything to splash, because if the oil splashes, you're going to get some bad burns. I recently got a bad burn from boiling water, from the water splashing at me, and it splashed on my chest and on my arm. So, you're going to put them in, just like so. They'll float. That's exactly what you're looking for. And those are going to just take a few minutes until they turn golden brown. See? They don't take very long at all. And don't crowd the pan. Otherwise, if you do that, then what's going to happen is the temperature is going to come down instead of remaining at the same, and they won't cook evenly. So all I'm going to do is just keep tossing them around. And I have a baking sheet that I have lined with some paper towels just to catch all the oil. Just turn these around until they're really deep golden all the way around. These look great. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Traditionally, they should be made a lot smaller, but you're going to need a lot of patience to do that. Patience, and I'm not the one to do that. I don't have a lot of patience, but they're still going to taste fantastic, so don't worry. Now, in this little pan, I have some honey that I've just heated up for just a few minutes until it's nice and runny. Now, I'm just going to add in some of the Struffoli. Now, don't worry, all the measurements of everything will be listed on my website. So it'll tell you exactly how much honey, how much of everything you should use. But for now, I'm just going to make a little bit just for my husband and I. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fry up the rest of them, put them flat on a baking sheet, freeze them until they're once they're frozen, I'm going to put them into a large Ziploc bag and, put them in the freezer until whenever I'm ready to use them. What I'm going to do is put them in the oven, 375 to 400 degrees until they're nice and golden crispy, and then toss them in the honey. Perfect. They look fantastic. I'm just going to put these on a plate, just like so. I like to either mount them up, or my mother, when she makes, tons of them, she shapes them into a wreath, which is what you're supposed to do. Now I'm going to just sprinkle the top with just some sprinkles, and these are Italian sprinkles, but again, you can use any sprinkles you want. These are just the traditional ones used for Struffoli. Amazing. Now you're supposed to let these cool for a bit, but I'm going right in for one. That one right there has my name on it. It might not be Christmas today, but just eating them makes me feel like it is. I can eat the whole thing. Well, that's it. You've learned how to make Struffoli, very quick and easy to do. So I hope that you make these for Christmas, start a new tradition with your family. That's it. To get this recipe and others, go to www.laurainthekitchen.com. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.